Life on the sanctuary planet quickly became peaceful and fulfilling for Ethan and Lyra. Every day brought new discoveries and joy. Together, they explored the forest, learning about the unique plants and creatures living there. They often visited nearby lakes where the clear, calm water reflected the sky, making everything feel serene and perfect. Ethan found himself happier than ever before. His bond with Lyra grew stronger with every passing day, their friendship deepening into something truly special. He admired Lyra's strength, kindness, and intelligence, feeling deeply grateful to have her in his life. One morning, Ethan and Lyra walked through a vibrant meadow filled with bright flowers, their sweet scent filling the air. Lyra gently held Ethan's hand, smiling warmly as they enjoyed the beautiful surroundings. "It's amazing here," Ethan said softly, looking around with appreciation. "This place really feels like home now." Lyra nodded gently, her eyes sparkling. "It does, Ethan. And it's even more special because we share it." They continued walking, enjoying the peaceful atmosphere. Suddenly, Ethan spotted something unusual in the distance, a shimmering object partially hidden by tall grass. Curious, he moved toward it, Lyra following closely. As they drew closer, they saw clearly what it was: a small crashed spacecraft, damaged but mostly intact. Ethan and Lyra exchanged concerned glances, their peaceful day suddenly interrupted. "Do you think someone might be hurt?" Lyra asked softly, worry evident in her voice. "We should check," Ethan replied. Approaching the craft cautiously. As they neared the ship, Ethan carefully peered inside. To his relief, there were no injured beings, but the vessel seemed completely abandoned. Lyra carefully examined the controls, her skilled fingers moving swiftly. "It looks like it crashed due to engine failure," she explained gently. "No sign of anyone aboard." Ethan looked thoughtfully at the craft, feeling a strange mixture of relief and curiosity. "Perhaps we should report it to the community elders." Lyra agreed, and they quickly returned to their village to inform the elders. After careful consideration, the elders asked Ethan and Lyra to investigate further, trusting their skills and judgment. Returning to the craft, Ethan and Lyra worked together carefully, examining the vessel more thoroughly. Ethan noticed unusual markings along the sides, symbols unfamiliar to him. "These symbols," he said softly, pointing them out to Lyra. "Have you seen anything like them before?" Lyra shook her head, studying them closely. "They're unfamiliar. Perhaps a new species we haven't encountered yet." Ethan felt a sudden urgency. "We should try to discover more. If they crashed here, they might need help." Lyra agreed, and together they activated the ship's internal systems. After careful efforts, a holographic recording activated, revealing a distressed alien figure speaking urgently in a language they couldn't understand. Lyra quickly worked to translate, using her advanced knowledge and skills. Slowly, the message became clear. The aliens had crashed accidentally while escaping from aggressive pursuers who had attacked their home world. They were stranded, hiding and desperate for help. Ethan and Lyra exchanged determined glances. "We have to find them," Ethan said firmly. "We can't leave them out there alone." With the elders' support, they quickly prepared for a search mission. Ethan felt a familiar determination filling him, knowing he and Lyra could offer help and safety. To the stranded aliens, just as he had once helped Lyra, they set out swiftly, guided by clues from the recording. The path led them through dense forests and rugged terrain, challenging yet beautiful. Ethan and Lyra moved steadily, supporting and encouraging each other along the way. Finally, after hours of searching, they found the hidden group of aliens. Exhausted and fearful, hiding in a secluded clearing. Ethan gently approached, hands open and voice calm. "We're here to help," Ethan said softly, hoping to reassure them. "You're safe now." The aliens looked up cautiously, their eyes filled with wary hope. Lyra stepped forward gently, her presence calming and kind. "Please trust us," Lyra urged softly. "We will protect you." Gradually, the stranded aliens relaxed, recognizing the sincerity in Ethan and Lyra's words. Ethan and Lyra helped them carefully, offering food, water, and medical aid. Slowly restoring their strength and trust. Once they felt secure, the aliens explained their ordeal further. Their attackers had been ruthless, driving them from their home. Ethan and Lyra listened closely, deeply moved by their suffering and determined to help them rebuild their lives. With support from the community elders, they found a safe place within the sanctuary community for the aliens to live. Everyone welcomed them warmly, offering kindness, support, and friendship. Ethan and Lyra continued visiting and helping the new arrivals, guiding them as they adapted to their new home. Through kindness, patience, and understanding, the newcomers slowly healed, becoming part of the sanctuary's peaceful community. One quiet evening, sitting together near their home, Ethan and Lyra reflected on their journey. They had both endured hardship and found peace through kindness and compassion. Their experiences had taught them that strength came not from power or force, but from love, trust, and resilience. "We've helped create something wonderful here," Ethan said softly, looking lovingly at Lyra. "A true sanctuary for those who need it most." Lyra smiled gently, leaning close to Ethan. "And we did it together." Ethan took her hand softly, heart swelling with happiness. "Always together, Lyra, no matter what comes next." They watched the stars quietly, content and peaceful, knowing they had truly found a place where they belonged, where they could continue helping others, guided by kindness, love, and each other's unwavering support. After the alien rescue team arrived, Ethan and Lyra found themselves aboard one of the alien ships, moving swiftly through space. The ship was unlike anything Ethan had ever seen, sleek and silent, gliding effortlessly among the stars. He marveled at its design, amazed by the advanced technology around him. Lyra stayed close to Ethan, her presence comforting and familiar amidst the new surroundings. She gently explained everything to him, helping him feel at ease among her people. The aliens aboard the ship welcomed Ethan warmly, clearly respecting the bravery he had shown in protecting Lyra. The journey gave Ethan and Lyra time to rest and recover from their ordeal. Ethan found himself frequently looking out the large windows, fascinated by the endless stars passing silently by. Lyra often joined him, sharing stories of her life before capture and describing the beauty of her home planet. One quiet evening, Ethan sat thoughtfully beside Lyra, watching the stars silently. "Lyra," he said softly, "what will happen when we reach your home?" Lyra smiled gently, sensing his worry. "My people will welcome you warmly, Ethan. You saved my life, and that means more than you can imagine." Ethan relaxed slightly, comforted by her words. "And what about you? Will you stay on your planet now?" Lyra hesitated briefly before responding, her eyes softening. "My home planet is beautiful, but it no longer feels like home to me. Home is wherever you are, Ethan." Ethan felt his heart swell with warmth at her words. "You mean that?" Lyra nodded sincerely, reaching out to gently hold his hand. "You gave me freedom and hope. Wherever you choose to go, I will be with you." Ethan smiled warmly, squeezing her hand gently. "Together, we'll find a place where we can both be safe and happy." As days passed, Ethan began learning more about Lyra's people, their history, and culture. They were peaceful and intelligent beings, explorers who valued knowledge and kindness above all. Ethan quickly grew fond of them, deeply appreciating their gentle ways and thoughtful nature. Soon, their journey brought them closer to Lyra's home planet. Ethan gazed in awe as they approached, the planet glowing softly with blues and greens beneath wispy white clouds. It was breathtaking, unlike anything Ethan had ever imagined. The ship gently landed on a platform surrounded by lush greenery. As they stepped outside, Ethan breathed deeply, enjoying the fresh, sweet air. Lyra's people greeted them warmly, their faces filled with kindness and gratitude. Lyra introduced Ethan to her family, who immediately welcomed him warmly, thanking him repeatedly for protecting Lyra. Ethan felt deeply moved by their kindness, feeling accepted and appreciated. In the days that followed, Lyra showed Ethan the wonders of her world. They explored vibrant forests filled with colorful plants and strange, beautiful creatures. They walked along peaceful beaches, the ocean waves softly crashing on the shore. Ethan found himself captivated by the planet's beauty, understanding why Lyra loved her home so much. One evening, as they watched the sunset from a quiet hillside, Ethan turned to Lyra. "It's beautiful here. I see why you love it." Lyra smiled gently. "It's peaceful, yes, but my heart feels most at peace when I'm with you." Ethan's heart beat faster at her words, realizing he felt exactly the same. "Then we'll decide together. Lyra, we'll build a life wherever we can both feel safe and happy." Lyra gently rested her head against Ethan's shoulder, her voice soft and content. "As long as I'm with you, Ethan, I know we'll find happiness." As their bond continued to grow, Ethan and Lyra began discussing their future seriously. They knew returning to Earth posed dangers, yet Lyra's world, while peaceful, was not Ethan's home. They spent many hours thoughtfully considering their options. Finally, they decided to ask Lyra's people for guidance. A council of elders listened carefully, respecting their requests. After thoughtful discussion, the elders suggested a unique solution, a small, peaceful planet known as a sanctuary, where beings from different worlds live together in harmony. Ethan and Lyra eagerly accepted the suggestion, feeling it was the perfect choice. Preparations began quickly, and soon they were ready to depart once more. The elders warmly bid them farewell, expressing sincere hopes for their happiness and safety. The journey to the sanctuary planet was swift, the new ship provided by Lyra's people smooth and fast. Ethan felt excitement and hope growing inside him. Eager for the new chapter awaiting them. Upon arrival, the sanctuary planet proved even more beautiful than they had imagined. Lush forests, clear lakes, and peaceful communities welcomed them warmly. Beings of various species lived together, sharing knowledge and resources. United by peace and kindness, Ethan and Lyra quickly settled into their new home, choosing a cozy dwelling nestled in a quiet forest. They worked together to make it comfortable, sharing chores, cooking meals, and creating a safe and peaceful space to call their own. They quickly became part of the community, making friends easily with others who had found refuge and happiness there. Ethan often marveled at how peaceful life had become, his past hardships feeling distant and forgotten. One calm evening, sitting beside a warm fire in their new home, Ethan turned to Lyra, smiling warmly. "This feels like home now, doesn't it?" Lyra nodded gently, her eyes soft and happy. "Because we are together." Ethan took her hand softly, knowing their bond was unbreakable. "No matter what challenges we face in the future, Lyra, we'll face them together." Lyra smiled softly, squeezing his hand gently. "Always together, Ethan, forever." The sanctuary planet had become their true home, a place where they could finally live free from fear, bound together by trust, love, and hope. Their journey had taught them resilience and courage, but most importantly, it had brought them each other. And for Ethan and Lyra, that was more than enough to face whatever lay ahead. Ethan and Lyra remained in the hidden cave for several days, cautious and quiet, always alert for any signs of danger. They knew staying here was only a temporary solution. Soon they would have to move again. Ethan was determined to find a safer place for them both, somewhere they could finally feel secure. One cold morning, after carefully checking that the area was safe, Ethan decided it was time to leave the cave. He had a plan to reach an old communication facility deep within the mountains. He hoped Lyra might use her advanced skills to send a signal for help to her own people. "Lyra, today we must go further up the mountain," Ethan explained gently, watching her closely for any reaction. "There is a place where we might contact your people." Lyra's eyes lit up with hope. "Truly, do you think we can do it?" "I believe in you," Ethan replied warmly. "Together we can make it." Quickly, they gathered their supplies, making sure they left no trace behind. Ethan led the way, carefully guiding Lyra along the rocky, snow-covered paths. The terrain grew more challenging, with steep cliffs and slippery ice. But both Ethan and Lyra moved steadily, helping each other whenever necessary. Hours passed slowly, their progress careful and determined. Ethan admired Lyra's strength and perseverance, noticing she never complained, even though exhaustion was evident in her eyes. He felt inspired by her courage, driving him to keep going despite his own fatigue. As the sun began to set, casting an orange glow over the snowy landscape, they finally saw their destination, a small, weathered building standing alone amidst the rugged mountains. Relief filled Ethan as they approached. "We made it," Ethan breathed, smiling encouragingly at Lyra. She returned his smile, hope shining brightly in her eyes. Inside, the facility was old and cold, its equipment long unused. Ethan quickly checked the communication devices, praying they were still functional. Lyra stood beside him, carefully examining the unfamiliar human technology. "Can you make it work?" Ethan asked gently. Lyra studied the equipment closely, her fingers moving gracefully across the controls. Her eyes narrowed with intense concentration. "It's damaged," she said quietly, "but I think I can fix it." Ethan watched in amazement as Lyra skillfully repaired and adjusted the complex machinery, her intelligence clearly evident. After a long, tense hour, she finally stepped back, breathing heavily. "It's ready," Lyra announced, her voice filled with cautious hope. "Then let's try," Ethan encouraged gently, placing a supportive hand on her shoulder. Lyra carefully activated the device, sending out a powerful distress signal into the vastness of space. The equipment hummed softly, lights flickering in response to her commands. Ethan watched anxiously, hoping desperately that her message would reach her people. After sending the signal, Ethan secured the facility carefully, making sure they were well hidden and safe for the night. He built a small fire in a sheltered corner, sharing a simple meal with Lyra, their spirits lifted by the possibility of rescue. "Do you think they heard us?" Lyra asked softly, looking up at Ethan with hopeful eyes. Ethan nodded confidently. "If anyone can reach them, it's you." Later that night, as the wind howled outside, Ethan and Lyra talked quietly about their dreams and hopes for the future. Their bond had grown stronger through the hardships they had faced together, and they found comfort in each other's presence. "You've given me something I never had before," Lyra admitted quietly. "Hope and courage." Ethan smiled gently, his heart warming at her words. "And you've given me a reason to fight, Lyra. A reason to keep going no matter what happens." The next day, the weather worsened, heavy snow falling, and the wind growing stronger. Ethan was relieved they had reached the shelter in time. Yet worry lingered. Would the harsh conditions prevent Lyra's people from reaching them? They spent their days waiting, carefully monitoring the communication equipment for any response. Ethan continued teaching Lyra new survival skills, preparing her for whatever challenges might lie ahead. Lyra listened closely, her determination growing each day. One afternoon, their patience was finally rewarded. A signal crackled through the old communication device, clear and unmistakable. Lyra's eyes widened with joy and relief as she listened to the familiar voices of her people, confirming they had received her message and were on their way. "They're coming," she exclaimed, her voice filled with excitement and happiness. Ethan hugged her tightly, sharing in her relief and joy. "You did it, Lyra. I'm so proud of you." But their happiness was short-lived. Another noise echoed faintly outside the facility, a noise Ethan instantly recognized as approaching danger. The slave traders had somehow tracked them down again. "We must prepare quickly," Ethan whispered urgently, eyes narrowing with determination. "We must hold out until your people arrive." Lyra nodded bravely, standing beside Ethan, ready to face whatever came next. They quickly secured the entrances, preparing to defend themselves. Ethan's heart pounded in his chest, but he felt a fierce resolve to protect Lyra. The traders approached cautiously, their harsh voices filled with anger and frustration. Ethan and Lyra waited silently, prepared to defend their small sanctuary. A tense silence filled the air as the traders circled the building, searching for a way inside Dot. Just as the attackers began forcing their way in, a sudden bright light filled the sky, followed by the loud hum of engines. Ethan and Lyra exchanged relieved glances. The alien rescue team had arrived. Within moments, alien ships landed nearby, powerful and intimidating. The traders quickly scattered, fleeing in fear and confusion. Ethan and Lyra emerged carefully, greeted warmly by Lyra's rescuers, who thanked Ethan deeply for protecting one of their own. Ethan felt immense relief and joy, knowing they were finally safe. The alien leader approached Ethan, bowing respectfully. "You have shown great bravery and kindness, Ethan. Your actions will never be forgotten by our people." Ethan smiled humbly, glancing warmly at Lyra. "I did what was right." Lyra stepped close to Ethan, her eyes filled with warmth and affection. "You saved my life, Ethan. You gave me hope." Ethan gently took her hand, feeling a deep connection and warmth between them. "And you gave me purpose, Lyra." As the alien rescuers secured the area and prepared to depart, Ethan and Lyra knew their future would be different now, shaped by the strength and trust they had built together. Wherever life took them next, they would face it side by side, stronger and united forever. After the attack, Ethan and Lyra knew they could not stay at the hut for much longer. The traders would surely return, more determined and with greater numbers. Ethan felt deeply worried, but kept it hidden, trying to protect Lyra from further fear. "We must leave soon," Ethan said quietly one evening as they sat close together by the fire. "This place isn't safe anymore." Lyra nodded slowly, understanding in her eyes. "Where can we go, Ethan?" Ethan thought carefully. "There's a hidden cave higher up the mountain. It's hard to reach, especially in winter. We'll be safe there for a while." Lyra agreed without hesitation, trusting Ethan completely. "I will go wherever you think is safe," she assured him gently. Preparations began immediately. Ethan packed essential supplies, carefully choosing what they would need for survival: food, blankets, warm clothing, and basic tools. Lyra helped quietly, showing remarkable strength despite the worry in her eyes. The next morning, before dawn, they set out. The air was icy, the snow crunching beneath their feet. Lyra shivered slightly, but her determination kept her moving steadily beside Ethan. He admired her courage, knowing how difficult this journey must be for her Dot. The mountain path was steep and dangerous, the snow-covered rocks slippery underfoot. Ethan carefully guided Lyra, holding her hand firmly, helping her climb and avoid dangerous spots. Their breath formed small clouds in the freezing air, the quiet interrupted only by their careful movements and the soft whisper of wind. Hours passed slowly, and exhaustion began to weigh on both of them. Lyra stumbled slightly, breathing heavily, clearly struggling. Ethan immediately stopped, gently supporting her. "We should rest a little," Ethan suggested gently, finding a sheltered spot beneath a large rock. He wrapped a warm blanket around Lyra's shoulders, giving her a sip of water from his flask. "Thank you," Lyra whispered, grateful eyes meeting his. "I'm sorry I'm slowing us down." Ethan shook his head firmly. "Don't apologize, Lyra. Your safety is all that matters. We'll rest whenever we need to." After a brief pause to regain their strength, they continued upward. By late afternoon, they finally reached the hidden cave Ethan had described. It was small but dry and sheltered, offering safety and protection from the cold winds. Inside, Ethan quickly set up their temporary home, lighting a small fire to warm the space. Lyra watched quietly, visibly relieved and grateful. They shared a simple meal, the warmth of the fire slowly driving away their exhaustion and cold. That night, as they rested quietly beside each other, Lyra spoke softly. "Ethan, do you think we'll always be running and hiding?" Ethan considered her question deeply before answering. "No," he finally said, determination clear in his voice. "We'll find a way for you to be safe permanently. I'll do everything I can to make sure you never have to hide again." Lyra's eyes softened, moved deeply by his promise. "You have done so much already. I don't know how to thank you." Ethan smiled gently, placing a reassuring hand on her shoulder. Seeing you safe and happy is enough for me, Lyra. The following days passed slowly, with Ethan teaching Lyra more about surviving in harsh mountain conditions. They carefully gathered firewood, melted snow for water, and rationed their supplies carefully. Lyra showed remarkable adaptability, quickly learning everything out her one clear night as stars filled the sky outside their cave. Ethan and Lyra sat quietly near the entrance, watching the peaceful beauty of the night. Lyra pointed to a bright cluster of stars, her eyes brightening. My home is near those stars, she said softly, a slight longing in her voice. It feels so far away now. Ethan listened quietly, sensing her deep sadness. Do you want to go back? Lyra turned to face him, surprise in her eyes. Not if it means leaving you, she admitted softly. You have become my home, Ethan. Ethan's heart swelled with warmth at her words. And you've become mine, he replied sincerely. The quiet moment was suddenly interrupted by distant noises carried on the wind. Ethan quickly stood, tension gripping him. Someone is coming. Lyra's eyes widened with fear, but she quickly composed herself, determined to be brave. What do we do? Ethan quickly extinguished their fire, plunging the cave into darkness. We stay quiet and hidden. They don't know we're here yet. Silently, they moved deeper into the cave, hiding behind large rocks. Ethan held Lyra's hand tightly, providing silent reassurance. The noises grew louder, voices becoming clearer. Unmistakably the same slave traders who had attacked before. The traders moved closer, their voices filled with frustration and anger. They must be somewhere nearby, one voice growled. Keep searching. Ethan's heart raced, but he remained calm, watching carefully from their hiding place. After a tense period of searching around the cave entrance, the traders finally moved away, their voices fading into the distance. Once Ethan was sure they were gone, he breathed a sigh of relief, gently squeezing Lyra's hand. They're gone. We're safe for now. Lyra hugged him tightly, relief overwhelming her. Thank you for protecting me again. Ethan held her close, vowing quietly to himself that he would never let harm come to her again. They remained hidden inside the cave, knowing their struggle was far from over, but determined to face it together, stronger and more united than ever. Lyra slowly regained her strength over the next few days under Ethan's gentle care. The mountain hut, once silent and lonely, became filled with quiet conversations and shared meals. Ethan noticed how quickly Lyra adapted to her new surroundings. Carefully exploring everything around her with curious eyes, Ethan found himself fascinated by Lyra. Her alien features were delicate yet striking, especially her shimmering pale blue skin and purple eyes. But it was her soft voice and thoughtful way of speaking that truly captured his attention as trust continued to grow between them. Ethan carefully asked about her past one evening as they sat together by the fire. Lyra took a deep breath, her gaze fixed on the dancing flames. My people are peaceful explorers, she began softly. We travel to learn about other worlds. But not everyone we meet shares our peaceful nature. Her eyes became sad as she continued. I was taken from my ship by cruel traders. They treated us like animals, sold us to the highest bidder. I was passed between many masters, none kind or caring. They saw me only as property, not as a living being. Ethan's heart ached at her words. He could not imagine the pain she had endured. I'm so sorry, Lyra, he said gently. No one should experience that. Lyra nodded slowly, her eyes shining with unshed tears. I never thought I would feel safe. Again, then you found me, Ethan. You saved my life, and now I have hope again. Ethan smiled warmly, his chest filling with warmth at her words. You deserve kindness and safety, Lyra. You will always find that here with me. Over the next few days, Ethan began teaching Lyra simple tasks to help her feel useful and independent. She quickly learned how to prepare basic meals, manage the fireplace, and even mend torn clothing. Ethan found her eagerness to learn both charming and admirable. One afternoon, as snow fell softly outside, Ethan showed Lyra how to chop wood for the fireplace. She watched carefully as he demonstrated, then stepped forward to try herself. Though she was delicate in appearance, Lyra proved surprisingly strong and capable. As they worked together, Lyra's curiosity about humans grew. "Ethan, why do you live here alone, away from other humans?" she asked quietly, stacking chopped wood neatly. Ethan paused, considering his answer carefully. "I wanted peace," he admitted finally. "The world is often loud and full of conflict. Here, it's quiet. I can think clearly and feel closer to nature." "It must have been lonely for you," Lyra remarked softly, her purple eyes filled with understanding. "Sometimes," Ethan confessed, "but not anymore. Now that you're here, I feel less alone." Lyra smiled shyly, her face glowing softly. "I also felt alone, but you changed that for me." They finished their task quietly, each lost in their own thoughts. But comforted by each other's presence. Later that evening, Lyra surprised Ethan by revealing one of her abilities. While they sat quietly after dinner, she suddenly looked at him with a soft intensity. "Ethan," she said gently, "my people have unique abilities. One of mine is sensing feelings and thoughts. It's how we communicate deeply among ourselves." Ethan's eyes widened in amazement. "You can sense my thoughts?" "Not clearly," Lyra reassured him quickly, "but I feel emotion strongly. You have so much kindness and care inside you. It's why I feel safe here." Ethan relaxed, smiling gently at her words. "That's incredible, Lyra. You amaze me more every day." As days turned into weeks, Ethan found his feelings toward Lyra growing stronger. Her warmth, kindness, and quiet strength made him cherish every moment they shared. Lyra, too, seemed to blossom, becoming more confident and open as trust and friendship deepened between them. However, peace was not meant to last. One quiet evening, Ethan noticed strange lights moving through the distant trees. Accompanied by faint noises carried on the wind, fear quickly tightened his chest. "Lyra," he whispered urgently, "stay inside and hide. Someone's coming." Her eyes widened with fear, clearly recalling her previous captors. Ethan quickly stepped outside, heart racing as he scanned the dark woods. Approaching figures were becoming clearer, moving steadily toward the hut. Ethan clenched his fists, determination filling him. He would protect Lyra at any cost. He quickly devised a plan, moving swiftly and silently to set traps around the hut. He knew the mountain terrain well and would use every advantage he had. Returning inside briefly, he found Lyra shaking slightly, fear evident in her eyes. Ethan reached out gently, placing his hand reassuringly on her shoulder. "I promise," he said firmly, "no one will take you away again. I will keep you safe." Lyra's fear faded slightly, replaced by trust and admiration for Ethan's bravery. "I trust you," she whispered softly, gripping his hand gently. Ethan returned to his position outside, eyes scanning carefully. The figures approached slowly, unaware of Ethan's carefully placed traps. As they moved closer, Ethan recognized them. Clearly slave traders, their harsh voices carrying through the night. Ethan's heart raced as anger surged inside him. He would never let them harm Lyra again. Silently, he activated the traps. Sudden cries filled the air as the first trap sprang, scattering the intruders. Chaos erupted in the darkness as the traders stumbled and fell into carefully hidden pits and snares. Taking advantage of the confusion, Ethan quickly moved, leading the remaining attackers away from the hut. His knowledge of the area helped him evade and confuse them further. Eventually, silence returned to the night as the last attackers retreated. Defeated and frustrated, breathing heavily, Ethan returned to the hut, exhaustion evident but relief overwhelming him. He found Lyra anxiously waiting inside. Upon seeing him safe, she rushed into his arms, holding tightly. "Ethan," she whispered softly, "you saved me again. Thank you." He held her gently, heart racing with relief and care. "Always, Lyra. he promised. Sincerely, no matter what, I'll always protect you. Safe and warm inside the hut once more, they knew their lives were forever connected. Each moment together strengthened the bond that now tied them, bringing hope and courage to face whatever lay ahead. The snow fell silently, covering everything in a soft white blanket. The cold wind whistled through tall pine trees, making them sway gently under the weight of the snow. Ethan, wrapped tightly in his thick coat, watched from the window of his small mountain hut. He had chosen this remote place for peace, away from busy cities and noisy crowds. Tonight, however, peace felt different. Ethan sighed deeply, feeling the loneliness creeping up. He warmed his hands near the fireplace, the orange flames dancing and casting shadows on the wooden walls. Suddenly, he heard a faint noise outside, different from the usual howling wind. Ethan paused and listened carefully. Again, he heard a soft cry, weak but clearly not from any animal he recognized. He grabbed his coat and opened the heavy wooden door, stepping outside into the freezing night. The icy air stung his face, making him shiver immediately. Ethan moved carefully, following the soft cries toward the edge of the forest near his hut. His heart beat faster, not sure what he might find in the dark. As he moved closer, Ethan saw something strange lying in the snow. His breath quickened as he realized it was a figure, a woman, curled up and trembling violent from the cold. She had pale blue skin that shimmered softly in the moonlight, clearly marking her as alien. Her hair, long and silver, was tangled and covered in snowflakes. Chains bound her wrists and ankles, making it clear someone had abandoned her cruelly. Ethan hesitated only for a moment before rushing to her side. He knelt down and gently touched her shoulder. She flinched weakly, turning wide, fearful eyes towards him. Those eyes, a deep purple filled with pain and fear, silently pleaded for help. Ethan felt his heart ache at the sight. "It's okay," Ethan said softly, hoping his voice would comfort her. "I won't hurt you. Let me help." Slowly and gently he lifted her frail body into his arms. She was surprisingly light, her body weakened by the harsh conditions. The alien woman shivered uncontrollably against him, her chains rattling softly. Ethan quickly carried her back to his hut, the warmth and safety waiting inside. Once indoors, Ethan placed her carefully on a soft rug near the fireplace. He quickly fetched blankets and wrapped them around her, trying to stop her shivering. He noticed her clothes were thin and torn, completely unsuitable for the freezing temperatures outside. Ethan grabbed tools and carefully worked on removing the chains, speaking gently as he did so. "You're safe now. I promise I won't let anyone hurt you again." The chains finally came loose, falling with a heavy clatter onto the wooden floor. Her eyes fluttered weakly, watching him closely, still fearful yet slowly beginning to show gratitude. Ethan fetched a bowl of warm soup he had prepared earlier for himself. Kneeling beside her, he gently offered her small spoonfuls. At first, she hesitated, eyes wary and uncertain, but hunger and the warmth of the soup soon convinced her. Slowly, the alien woman began to eat, each spoonful bringing back strength and life to her thin body. Her eyes met Ethan's repeatedly, gradually becoming less fearful and more trusting. Ethan felt relieved watching her recovery. Once she had eaten enough, Ethan carefully helped her sit up, adjusting the blankets around her again. She looked around the hut, her eyes filled with curiosity and cautious wonder. "Thank you," she whispered softly, her voice delicate and musical. Ethan smiled warmly. "You're welcome. My name is Ethan." "What is your name?" The alien woman hesitated for a moment before, replying softly, "My name is Lyra." "Nice to meet you, Lyra," Ethan said gently, hoping to reassure her further. "You're safe here. You can rest now." Lyra nodded slowly, exhaustion clearly overtaking her. She closed her eyes, leaning slightly against Ethan's shoulder as sleep finally claimed her. Ethan stayed still, allowing her to rest comfortably, feeling strangely protective of this unexpected visitor. The hours passed quietly, the storm outside slowly calming down. Ethan thought deeply about how Lyra had ended, up abandoned near his hut. Anger filled him briefly at the thought of those who had treated her cruelly. He decided then that he would protect her. No matter what got as dawn approached, soft light filled the hut. Lyra stirred gently, her eyes slowly opening and looking up into Ethan's face. She seemed slightly surprised to find herself still safe and warm. "Good morning," Ethan greeted gently, smiling reassuringly. "Do you feel better?" "Yes," Lyra replied softly, her voice still weak but more steady. "Thank you for saving my life." Ethan shook his head gently. "No one deserves what happened to you. You're safe now, and I promise I will help you however I can." Lyra's eyes softened, filling with a mixture of gratitude and trust. Ethan knew. At that moment, his quiet mountain life had changed forever, and he felt strangely happy about it.